A couple of senators decided to unveil comprehensive marijuana policy reform. So recently we discussed Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard's bill to decriminalize weed. This was brought up in the House. This is a little bit different, this piece of legislation. It's actually an amalgamation of some bills. And see, oftentimes what happens is they'll look at Tulsi Gabbard's bill or a similar bill, and they'll go, extremists. That's so extreme to, like, decriminalize weed and stop locking people in a cage for tweaking their consciousness slightly with a substance. Now, they're wrong, but that's how Washington functions. And, of course, a lot of these politicians take money from the alcohol industry, from Big Pharma, and they are specifically against legalizing or decriminalizing marijuana. So, but they'll look at a bill like that and say, that's extreme, that's too far. Well, now they have no excuse. Because we're not talking about a full legalization bill, and we're not talking about a decriminalization bill. Which, again, they view both of those as extreme, even though 58% of the American people are for legalization, not just decriminalization. Well, now, listen to this bill, or this group of bills, and watch how they still come out against it, even though there's no counter-argument. So let's go over the provisions. The package known as the Path to Marijuana Reform includes 3 separate bills. The Small Business Tax Equity Act. This would require that state legal marijuana businesses be taxed similarly to other small businesses and would remove regulations that bar cannabis businesses from claiming tax deductions and credits. The Senate version is co-sponsored by Rand Paul, while the House version is co-sponsored by Carlos Curbelo, a Republican of Florida. The responsibility addressing the marijuana policy gap, that's the next bill. This would remove federal penalties for marijuana sale and possession in states that have legalized pot. It would also give marijuana businesses access to banking services, allow veterans to access state legal medical marijuana, and protect Native American tribes from federal punishment for marijuana sale and use. The Marijuana Revenue and Regulation Act, that's the next one. This would regulate marijuana similarly to alcohol by removing the substance's Schedule I designation and imposing a federal excise tax on sales of marijuana products. In a call with reporters on Thursday, Wyden and Blumenauer, these are the senators who proposed this, framed the issue as one of states' rights, an argument they hope will resonate with their Republican colleagues. So, in other words, let's review this. What they're saying is, okay, we got it. A lot of the dinosaurs in the Senate are corrupt or stupid, and they refuse to do decriminalization or legalization. Okay, you win. Here's what we're going to do. All we're going to do is take it off of the federal, take it off of the Schedule I categorization at the federal level. So in other words, it's no longer considered a drug that not only has no recreational benefit, but also no medicinal benefit. That's what Schedule I means. So it's just crazy that that's still how it's categorized, but that is how it's categorized. So they're saying take it off the Schedule I categorization. On top of that, have some taxes and some regulation set up. But furthermore, make perfectly clear that we're going to regulate marijuana in the states where they've legalized it recreationally. We're going to regulate it like other small businesses. And they're going to get similar tax credits. They're going to be able to claim their deductions. They're going to be able to use the banking system, all things they're not allowed to do right now. So in other words, they are not saying, hey, nationwide, it is legalized. What they're saying is, okay, hands off from the federal government. It's no longer a Schedule I substance. And all we're saying is in the states where it is already legalized by the state, just allow them their sovereignty within those states and treat it like any other business and regulate it in a similar way to how we regulate alcohol. That's all they're saying. That mixed in, obviously, with some stuff about Native American tribal sovereignty and if whatever they want to do with weed is okay, and some sprinkled in some stuff about veterans as well. But that's it. That's all they're saying. So you're no longer talking full decriminalization or full legalization. You're talking about very specific states' rights bill. So, your move, everybody else in Congress, in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. Go. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? I already told you, a majority of the American people want to legalize. That's 58%. It might even be higher now because I'm citing a poll from a year ago. But they say, no, that's crazy, even though most Americans want it and we should do it. Not even decriminalization. Okay, let's do this weird bill where it's all about states' rights and it's all about working within the existing framework of what the states have already done. So now they're using Republican conservative ideology for rational ends here, and watch, it will still be opposed. So, guys, we're just dealing with an idiotic, out-of-touch body here. And we're dealing with a corrupt body because, let's face it, the DEA, for example, is fighting any kind of decriminalization or legalization because their jobs depend on it. Big Pharma is fighting it because they view it as competition. The alcohol companies are fighting it because they view it as competition. So it's entrenched interests who are fighting off inevitable reform that should happen. Because how many lives have we ruined as a result of the drug war? So I totally support this package of bills. You guys know I'd go further. I support Tulsi Gabbard's bill to decriminalize. I would support anybody who wants to propose a bill to fully legalize, tax, and regulate at a federal level, treated just like alcohol. I would support that bill in an instant. But no, it's always, let's concede to the people to take all of the counter arguments they use politically and say, no, here's why you're wrong. We're crafting this bill so it's a very right-wing bill in that it's about states' rights and everything. They'll still say no. So that's abysmal. Washington should be ashamed that they don't pass this overwhelmingly on day one. And anybody who opposes this should be voted out. How about that? Is that clear enough for you?